Hi, I'm Kathy Cairo with Keller Williams Greater Columbus. This week I want to talk to you about what your options are. If you're a homeowner and you have a home to sell in this hyper seller's market, you want to take advantage of it, but what do you do when you sell your home? Because there's not a lot on the market right now. Now, before I go any further, I want to address the sale of home contingency. I want you to go back, if you haven't, go back and listen to last week's blog or read it, because I talk about that contract phrase that we used to use all of the time, which was called the sale of home contingency. I tell you why in a hyper seller's market, we don't have that luxury. So I don't want to take time here, but if you haven't listened to or read last week's blog, go back and do that. And that will fill you in on where we are today. Because I told you this week I would talk to you about what your options are. If you do have a home to sell, what are your options? Now, again, we're in a market where there's very little on the market. So when you sell your home, there may not be a home to buy. So your first option is to check with your lender and find out if you qualify to buy a home without selling your home. You may have enough equity in your home, you might have enough income, you might have a low enough debt to income ratio that the lender says, sure, you can qualify to buy house number 2 before you sell house number 1. Now, 20 years ago, I would tell the seller, okay, go ahead and do that, but at your own risk, because you might be paying mortgage payments for 6 months while you're waiting for house number 1 to sell. Well, in this market, I can pretty confidently tell you that if you qualify to buy a home, so you can close on it, that your number 1 home, your old home, will be closing on it within 3 weeks. You're likely not to have a single mortgage payment on your new home before we have your old home sold. That's how quickly the market is moving. But you still have to qualify. The lender says, yes, I will give you the money for house number 2 before house number 1 is sold. If you can do that, you just won the lottery. Go do that. Go ahead and get your home ready to sell, but start looking for your new home and get that out of the way first. That avoids a double move. You close on the new home, then close on the old home. But let's go back to the vast majority of people. You either can't afford or not willing to do that. Well, your options are pretty limited. In this market, there are only 3 options that you have, realistically. And the first is to move twice. You just say, make the commitment, I'm going to go find an apartment or a place to live, I'm going to sell my home, we're going to move the family and the dog and the goldfish into an apartment. We have money in the bank, now we have time, no stress. We'll start looking for a home. Now, everybody always looks at me and says, no way, we're not going to do that. Well, I'm going to tell you something that sounds a little harsh. I'll sound like your mother here. The choice to sell in this market and to buy in this market is a choice to move twice unless you can afford to buy a home without selling it. It's just the way it is. Here's what the seller that the home you're buying, you find the home you love and you present your offer contingent on the sale of your home. That seller is going to be sitting at a table with offers spread in front of them like a deck of cards, most of which have no home sale in them. So if you have a home sale contingency, you're going to be moved to the bottom of the pile. Again, go back to last week's blog and I'll tell you why that's the case. Just trust me when I say that you are in such a crowded buyer's market in this Central Ohio's market right now that you cannot get a seller to accept your offer, no matter how good it is, if you have a home to sell. So begin wrapping your head around the prospect of finding an apartment or finding somewhere to live and moving somewhere for a few months while you find your next home. The second option is, and this is a roll of the dice, it works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. Because you are in such a great seller's market, we can build into your contract what we call a rent back, where we say, yes, we're going to close on your home, but then you are going to rent your home, now their home, for the next 60 days while you look for a home. Now that's a wonderful thing. You get to stay in your home an extra 2 months, and the seller's market is strong enough in 2021 that the buyer will probably let you do that. but that's the limit. A lender will not allow a rent back more than 60 days. So you've got to find a home quickly, close on it in order to not be back to square one, which is you have to move twice. So it buys you a little extra time, but doesn't absolutely ensure that you won't have to move twice. Because if you can't find a home, or you are not the winning bid, and you are on day 45 of your 60 days, guess what? You're going to have to move twice to be able to hand the keys over to the buyer within the contractual period. The third option is to build a new home. Now, again, the only reason I throw this out there is the benefit of building new is that you at least know where your home is. You know what it is. As we said when we're kids, you put dibs on it. You know it's there. And it's 9 months out there, which gives you time to sell your home. However, the builder is the seller in this competitive market, and they call the shot. So what they're going to say to you is, yes, we will accept your contract with a sale of home contingency, but we are going to require your home be listed many times within 14 days, 7 to 14 days. So as soon as you go in contract on your new build and all you can see in front of you is a lot with dirt, they're going to say you've got to put your home on the market. Your home is then going to sell, usually rather quickly, and once again, you may be able to negotiate some extra time for the buyer, but you're not going to be able to negotiate the 9 months, which is what the builder is requiring. So you've got to move twice. You're going to have to move somewhere temporarily for 2 to 3 months. So again, I know none of this is good news, none of it is pleasant, but it is the reality of buying in a hyper seller's market. You get all the benefits of being a seller. You get the multiple offers. You get the ability to rent back. You get to say, I'm not doing any repairs. You walk away with the highest price that you'll probably ever see on your home. You get all those benefits, but then when you turn around, you're the buyer and you're entering that competitive market. I've written a book just to explain all this to you. It's called 10 Ways to Win in a Challenging Market, and I'll send this to you free. The Kathy Cairo Group is a team built on education. We want you to know all your options and the reality of every market we're in. So if you want a copy of my book, go to ourohiohome.com, click on the contact link, give us your information. Tell me you want to copy the book and I'll get it out to you. I'm Kathy Cairo. I'd love to serve you. Whether you're buying or selling, we have the best team in the business and we would love to work for you.